Hello.
Hello and welcome
How
to Stateside with me and Brenna Duncan over in LA, where I believe it's sunny.
it's nice and sunny here. Um
Toach gels.
which is not, I mean, for most of the country they've been devastated by all different types of natural disasters, but that's what you get if you don't believe in climate change.
Yes, because it comes around and bites you on the arse, really, doesn't it? But I think a lot of people just think that climate change in America or anywhere in the world is made up because the $4 trillion fossil fuel industry wants them to think it's made up so they don't have to stop
Yeah.
doing what they're doing.
It's almost
Funny
like
that.
propaganda works.
Yes, indeed. So I'm going to say a big shout out to everyone in the chat. We've got Mikey Famine in the chat over in Chicago. Hi,
Hi,
Mikey. How you doing? Mikey will
Mikey.
be here next week, so we're going to have alternating weeks if that's all right. So we'll go to LA and then we'll go to Chicago. So we're not putting too much of a workload on our American friends. We've got Katrina in the chat. We've got Michael. We've also got Anya and Katrina. We've got Rock Show saying yes to title premise with SCOTUS. I like calling it Scrotus. He cannot be tried for any crime. Electoral colleges can be gamed for win with appeal to owned Scrotus. So basically, he can just lose in any given electoral college, and then he can scam it. So they go along and say that he won, and his Supreme Court lackeys will just do what they're told, and so he'll win even if he loses. Do you think that's what's going to happen?
All right. That's the show. Thanks for watching. Um, I mean, isn't that his whole thing? Isn't that's the entire premise of the Project 2025? If you have not heard any of this, you need to look this stuff up. It is exactly that. It is that once, like, they've already started. We've already got the SCROTUS, as you say.
Yes.
Um,
Well, I like to call him.
basically bowing down. We now have that in Florida, the documents trial now got taken down.
This is
The
Judge Eileen Cannon who's decided to throw out the case. But could this not actually be that good for Trump? Could this mean that the case is tried with a different judge who's not as corrupt?
So since this just happened early this morning in our time zone, what has been sort of trickling down is that it can be appealed, because it wasn't thrown out entirely. It was just sort of like we can't do anything with this. So yes, they can appeal it. They can appeal it to the circuit courts, which is what's going to happen. And then there's a possibility that Judge Cannon can be kicked off. It can, she is, and all, you know, she's corrupt. Like
Yes.
that's it. You
Yes.
can't really say anything more. She is not just like a fan of Donald Trump. He's a donor to her campaign. She's been on his side from day one. This is pure corruption.
Yeah.
And if all this, which I don't even know all the stuff that's going on with her, but this could be a possibility for her to be either repealed from the bench or taken off the case at least, so that they can go and they can try this. So it could go to a different state, or it could stay in Florida. But this is in the playbook because now Trump can't do no wrong.
Yes.
He
Because
can.
someone tried to shoot him and missed. A Republican, by the way, Republican white, 20-year-old, gun owning, although he used his dad's gun, Republican. And yet, according to Marjorie Taylor Greene, it was the Democrats who did it all. And you're just like,
Oh, it was Antifa,
what?
which
Oh, it
is
was
like
Antifa. Yeah.
it's like the go-to. It's like it's either BLM or Antifa. It's like you guys can't even pick Like, you can't even
Yeah.
be consistent.
Okay,
Um,
so Trump lies and cheats his way into the into winning. So in the
mhm.
equivalent of January the 6th next year, his people go to Washington and declare him the winner, and he has a mob outside. And then I guess he unleashes the mob, kills everyone who doesn't agree with in Congress, and he'll completely be exonerated for that, and he can then pardon all the murderers,
Mhm.
because that's something they can literally do as president. So on a scale of 1 to 10, like how fucked do you think America is right now?
I'm not seeing a lot of hope right now. And these conventions, if you don't know, the Republican National Convention, which is the nominating convention,
Just started now.
just started about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
They're going to do right now, they're starting roll call. So there it's going to be every state saying, we nominate Donald Trump, and they're going to go around, and it's going to be this big show. Because it's not really nominating, because
Yeah.
there's no contention. So this is very simply going to be Donald Trump's going to walk away in about maybe an hour and a half. He's going to come out on stage. He's going to announce his VP pick, his vice presidential pick, which is not going to be Mike Pence because,
Why is it not going to be Mike Pence? Is it because he sent a mob to have him killed?
well, I think that is definitely it, considering that like the first thing that Trump sent out was, one of those was Mike Pence is a coward for not, contesting the election,
Oh,
the
nice.
and not standing up for him.
Yeah.
So it's not Mike Pence, and it's not going to be somebody who's going to be that bland and vanilla.
Right.
One of the possibilities is going to be J.D. Vance, who wrote the Hillbilly Elegy, which I've actually heard great book. Um, because he was not a Trump person, because usually, when you're poor like that, you don't want somebody who is ruining the economy as is.
Yeah.
But he switched once he became, once he wanted to run for senator, he switched over. So JD Vance, he's young, he's a white male. Uh, Big surprise. Um, so there's that. I think I know Marco Rubio got dropped from that list. Um, I think Nikki Haley was mildly thought of, which is not ever going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, they failed the one time that they got a woman to be vice president, and they failed miserably. Um, so we will definitely see what happens with that, because that's going to be the direction that they're going to be going.
Well, I mean, the direction
Um,
is that they're going to elect a king for the first time, appoint a king actually, for the first
and
time in American history.
he needs somebody to be okay with that. And somebody like
Yes.
Mike Pence not being okay with that
Yeah.
is, some mid-level Republican, you know, is not going to have a dictatorship, because even what's interesting is even the most like conservative people know that the originalists of the original Constitution, you cannot be a dictator in the original Constitution. It's set up that way
Yeah.
because
Vance just
of our
confirmed. Oh, we're just hearing Vance has been confirmed, according to
Vance has
Rock
been
Show.
confirmed.
Yeah, according to Rock Show.
Oh,
So tell me more about JD Vance.
he's a Trump Republican, so he is like 100% on Trump's side. He is a bootlicker just like him.
Yeah, Trump picks JD Vance of
Everybody
Ohio as running mate.
Trumpers hate JD Vance hates, and he's from Ohio. Um,
Which
so
is an important state to win.
which is a swing state, yes. They have Sherrod Brown, who is the other senator, is kind of a mid Democrat, so one of those centrist yet left-leaning Democrats. He's oh Jesus. He is in a tight race right now. So um
Oh,
so that might become Republican, and then of course the governor gets to appoint, and if the governor is Republican, blah blah blah. The Senate, I mean, he did this so that everybody looks at Ohio and takes down the Democratic Party in Ohio. That's what you do. So
apparently, he set up his own venture capital operation with support from PayPal founder Peter Thiel, the guy who founded Planeteer, which is a really evil corporation named after the evil seeing orbs from Lord of the Rings. And yes, I know they weren't originally evil, but they were corrupted by Sauron. Not great. So,
no.
okay, next question. Sorry to
All right.
bombard you with these questions, Brenna. What the fuck can the Democrats do now? What should they do? Because last time we were talking, we were like, they need to replace Biden? Do they need to replace him? I think that the situation hasn't got better, has it?
It's that situation. So the Biden situation, I don't see as something that's getting worse, but it's definitely not improving. And I don't think we're going to see any improvement until like the Democrats have their national convention, which is usually when they bring out the focus. Like the first off, like the assassination attempt that happened, I think there is a difference between the response of the Republicans versus the Democrats. And
Yeah.
I think that shows a bit more on the side. It's more positive towards the Democrats because the Republicans, or the MAGAs, we'll call them, are far more like, this is Biden's fault. This is the Democrats' fault. This is Nancy Pelosi's fault. This is, whoever they want to blame, they're going to blame.
Yeah.
The Democrats are not doing that. Even Nancy Pelosi's like, my husband was just was attacked
Yes.
by one of these political
with a hammer. And
with a
then,
hammer.
and then Donald Trump's son put out a picture on Twitter a couple of days later saying, "This is my Halloween costume. I'm going as Nancy Pelosi's husband." Was it a hammer and a pair of underpants or something?
I know he was tied to a chair, and that just like in your own
And Donald
home.
Trump's son was making a joke about it, and then Donald Trump said some funny thing about it. But we can't say anything about the attempted assassination of Donald Trump because we're above that. We can't make jokes about it.
This is a huge problem, as you know. It's like, what was it, years ago when Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. We can't do that anymore.
No, kick
like
'em.
That.
They go low, kick them.
That is, just like, we have to go bold. We have to go like this, this could have been where is the Republicans' response to the people who actually died?
Yes. Well, at the weekend, yeah, the guy who died, the president, the ex-president Trump, he didn't go to the hospital, or he didn't go and meet the family. He went to play golf instead.
Which is like, that right there is a sign. Like, these were people at his rally. These were people who waited there, wanted to see him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care. Like, this is what the Democrats should say. He doesn't care if you die. He does not care. As long as he gets that photo op with his fist in the air going, "I'm okay," and the blood rushing down his face. He doesn't care about the people who actually got shot.
No, he doesn't care about anything but himself.
And that's the direction. And that should be like, he has set up this environment in which violence is normal. But if somebody who supports him is injured or killed in the process, he doesn't care. He only cares about himself. He only cares about that heroic image of him with his fist in the air and the Secret Service.
Brenna, it'll work. It'll work.
What will work?
because it will empower his base, but also it'll
Yeah.
get wavering voters who are going to decide this election to go, oh, do you know what? He's a strong leader. He's a strong leader. How many times do you have to hear that expression said by, arguably beta males around the world saying all they want is a strong leader? It's the only thing they respect. And he's there surviving a bullet with his fist in the air, the American flag flying above him. Meanwhile, Biden can't remember what he was talking about by the time he gets to the end of a sentence, and he accidentally calls President Zelensky President Putin. Yikes. It's, yeah. And when people go, oh, yeah, but Trump's done all these bad things, I keep going, yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to his base. It matters if...
Because they're not seeing it. They're not seeing the forest for the trees, right?
No, they don't care.
They don't care.
They're not asked. It's like, oh, no, look at these terrible things he's going to do. They're not asked. They don't care. They're going to vote for him anyway. It's like, oh, he just shot someone on Fifth Avenue. They're not bothered. They're going to vote for him anyway. So, yeah. Can I just stop for a second and just say thank you to GHK? Thank you so much for the super chat. YouTube not allowing my apocalypse-related comment about the orange one. Well, I'll make it for you. If Trump gets in, you can bend over and kiss your ass goodbye, because it's all going to kick off around the world. The world is a powder keg at the moment, and he is the catalyst for a lot of things.
We're lucky. We're lucky that the Labor Party won.
Yes.
That gives a little bit of hope. We're lucky about the French elections and just the Tory tears. It's great. Oh, yeah. Just push them down. Just keep them hidden. Just push them in the back. They don't need to be there. The French elections, I think we're seeing at least something happening that is not gearing towards apocalypse. Yeah. But it's still not good enough.
No.
And it takes, like, we should be protesting in the streets every time something like our rights are taken away. And yes. I think we've just been frightened into not. Yeah. And frightened into seeing just allowing it to happen, and just not to do that whole thing with that one dictator in the 1930s and 40s, what that happened there. But this is the start of it.
Yeah, this is play for play on like what Hitler did. Although the difference is that Hitler expected to get in, whereas Trump in his first term of office, he didn't expect to get in. The people supporting him didn't expect him to win. And he did, right. And they didn't know what to do. And so they faffed around for a long time, and nothing actually got done while he was president, which, for us was a good thing, because we don't want him to do anything. But this time, they're going to hit the ground running with Project 2025. And, it's very good of us to say to people, all of our friends, shit, have a look at this. Have a look at what Project 2025 they're going to do. But I guarantee there are vanishingly few Republican voters out there who will read that and say, oh, they're going to ban abortions nationwide. Oh, they're going to ban pornography. They're going to ban transgender people and gay people. They're going to ban everyone who's...
They're going to throw everybody in concentration camps.
Yes, yeah, internment camps, yeah. And they're going to read that, and it's not going to turn a single one of them off, because they'll go, it won't happen to me. We saw this with Brexit.
I'm one of the good ones. I'm one of the good ones.
We saw parents of grown adults in the UK whose son or daughter had married someone from the EU vote for Brexit, vote to chuck their husband or wife out of the country. And when you pointed this out to them, they went, oh, I didn't mean you. And the Republicans in America are going to do the same thing. They're going to start losing all their friends and neighbours and family members who are on, need help medically, are on the LGBTQ spectrum, and they're going to start disappearing. Anyone who's got a dissenting voice, any of your friends or family who might be a loudmouth Democrat voter, they've got the resources to do this, and they've got the will to do it as well. And I
And
keep pointing out that the billionaires, the evil, tyrannical billionaires of the world who run the oil companies, who run the arms manufacturing companies, who create tobacco
Mhm.
and narcotics and big pharma and all that, they all support Trump because this is great for
it's
them.
and there's stuff that's hidden in that Project 2025 that we're not talking about. Just like the FDIC protections of banks, which means they can do whatever they want with your money
Yeah.
and they don't have to pay you back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If anything happens, if they just start shelling out all this money, they're not required to make sure that you have it. This is what happened with what was it? The depression,
Yeah.
the the stock market crash,
Yeah.
because there wasn't protections. So one false move of the stock market, one bad break, depression again.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna care. And your vote, I mean, voting against your own interest is it doesn't even cross anybody anymore. It's just a phrase that
No.
we've been saying.
Well, it's
Like,
what Republicans do. It's what conservatives do in this country, to a slightly lesser extent. But Republicans, especially poor working class Republicans in America, it's like, do you not like having functioning services? No. Do you like living in a swamp? Yes. It's like, okay. I mean, these are the people who complain about the EPA, who house people, in temporary camps and things like that when there's a disaster. They're like, no, I don't want them. I don't want the government coming in and giving me warmth and shelter and food. I want them to leave me to die in this hurricane or forest fire or whatever natural disasters hit America. And you're just like, what? And there's the old line of there's no poor Americans. They're just temporarily embarrassed millionaires. And it's this idea of, I might live in a swamp, and I might not have any of my own teeth anymore, but if I win the lottery, I don't want the government taking 40%.
right. Yeah. I don't want
It's
my money to go to anything, even though it pays
maddening.
for everything. And again, I'm hard to say this, but here, in California, we pay for all these people.
Yes.
Like the natural disasters that just happened, like in Texas and Oklahoma, um, where devastations
Yeah.
and are happening, like we're paying for that, and we're barely paying, like we have to do that because we pay taxes.
Yeah.
And then we're demonized for having high taxes. It's like, that's because you don't. Like, we have roads that are built, are resurfaced all the time because we actually pay taxes to do that.
Yeah.
And because the word taxes has been so demonized and built in as bad, they don't see the benefit. They only see the problem. And that's the Republican way. That's the conservative way. That's the
Yeah.
MAGA way. That's what Tea Party did. And without the Tea Party came in and said, let's get rid of all the taxes.
Yeah.
And then Trump came in and said, look, we're all these rich people. This is benefiting you because they pay less in taxes, which means it trickles down, which
It's bullshit.
Reagan destroyed the economy saying that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
And Reagan wasn't even that bad compared to Trump.
Well,
He was bad.
the biggest transfer of capital in history from the poor to the rich happened during the COVID pandemic. They saw that, and the disaster capitalists, rubbed their hands together. Fantastic opportunity for disaster capitalists to steal money from the taxpayer, like what happened during the credit crunch, like what happens every time they fuck up. They basically go, well, we don't have to pay for it. We're too big to fail. The taxpayer can bail us out, whether it's the banks, whether it's Boeing, whether it's these companies in the UK that pretended that they were going to supply protective equipment to our NHS and didn't. They just took all the money and ran away into the sun, bought themselves a yacht, bought themselves some property in Honolulu. Like, I just, they've looked at that and gone, this is great. And so Trump creating an unnatural disaster, I guess, in
Mhm.
America is par for the course, isn't it? Because they think they're going to make loads of money out of that. And obviously, if you've got to, you know, if you're going to spend all your money on essentials, you're going to be as panicked as people are in America when they're deathly ill and they need money to stay alive. And so, what are you going to do? You're going to pay it, aren't you? Pay it back slowly over
And
many, many decades.
what happens to people when they can't afford to go to college? They can't afford to find a job. They can't afford to take care of their families. They go into military service.
Yeah,
They go into these government protected jobs that are basically rich getting richer, and then all the this is the thing, this is what's going to happen. This idea that let's destroy everybody, let's break them all down and say, but you can survive. Like, if you don't have the money, you can survive by joining the military, joining the police academy, join, all these things that can just not, and then what happens? And then once you get out, you don't get veteran services.
yeah,
And then you get demonized for not being able to pay your medical bills
yeah,
because of what happened to you, or
yeah. And then you get
it,
addicted to opioids.
and then you just get thrown in jail.
Oh yeah, at the
And then you
highest.
just get then, and then that's just another part of slavery.
Yes.
So welcome to
Great.
America.
We've had a question. Before we do that, we're just gonna go to Puninator's question. Before we go to the other question, Brenna, in the UK, we're seeing demographic changes of younger generations not turning conservative like they used to. Is this sort of trend also present in the States? If so, it might be a saving light there. Thanks very much for the super chat there, Puninator. So, are young people turning away from the Republicans, or are they joining up with Gusto?
I actually do not see the trend of getting away from conservatism. I think there's a radical shift, and you can see from the shooter, he was 20-year-old white guy. Like,
Yeah,
there is a radicalization. It is, and it's been happening for a long time, especially with white males, cisgender straight white males, um, that are becoming more conservative. Now, would more people be becoming liberal in that sense? Yes. But I think that it's not trending as quick. I don't know how quickly it's trending in the UK or in other first world countries, how that is working, but I don't see that trend. That doesn't mean it's not there.
yeah, yeah. Fair
I've
enough.
been
Fair enough.
I've been I've been a liberal since I was, in the womb. Like, I can't even think of myself as being conservative. I can't. I try every once in a while to go, okay, so how would I feel about this, this person, this non-binary person as a conservative, and I'd be like,
Yeah,
I can't do that. I can't think that way. And because first off, I was not radicalized that way. And it just doesn't make any, it's not logical.
no,
And that, I think, is a lot of what is being taken away. And that's those are some of the things that are being taken away just from public education, is
yeah,
the ability to understand the world,
yeah,
understand people,
yeah. That's true.
understand
I've
things.
we've
Like,
got
it's
we've got Scott in the chat saying, uh, "Bloody hell, you two are rays of sunshine." Cheers, Scott. Um, but yeah, that brings on to the other question that's been asked a little bit earlier on. It was like, are you concerned? You're in California. Are you concerned about your safety if Trump gets in?
it's hard to say, because California, we have been very much away from a lot of what has happened, but especially me in Orange County, not in LA, in Orange County, which has always been very deep, deep Republican. I can't say deep red because red is a different color, for a difference. But deep Republican for a long time, and we've been slowly up and down. So there's still problems in
Yeah.
California. There's still we have a lot of the state is conservative. A lot of the state are Trumpy, especially next door in Newport Beach is a very Trumpy place. And they have money. And
Right.
Trump loves money and people with
Yes.
money.
Yeah.
Am I concerned right away? No. Will I see the trickle effect? Absolutely. And let's just say I was working down at elementary school, and we have kids. It's a public school, so kids of all different types, all different backgrounds, especially Hispanic because we live in Southern California. Right after Trump got elected, I was afraid that these kids would be taken away.
Shit.
So I'm not concerned about it. I'm not going to sit back and go, oh yeah, there's no problem. It's okay. I'm in her in California. Nobody's gonna work. Nobody worry. No, there are concerns that are going to be come forward. We've already seen what happens, and it's just gonna get worse. And
Yeah.
I live in Southern California. I have, we have ports, we have ports for shipping goods. We have agricultural, we have technology, and we have diversity, and that's scary. Like if half of that goes away, what's stopping anybody?
Well, exactly. But I would have thought that that California would sort of rise above it. But you're right. I mean, anywhere in any given country can have people of different political backgrounds, beliefs, or whatever. But it does seem very much that there's two types of people who want Trump to win: the rich and the stupid. And unfortunately, as predicted by Mike Judge with deadly accuracy in his movie Idiocracy, although he thought it would take a couple of 100 years, not a couple of decades, America's just been taken over by the numpties like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who comes out with the most offensive shite, and it just gets away with it. Like, no one says, oh, hang on, that's a bit much. I'm really sorry about the bit rate tonight, by the way, folks. I know we're having trouble with our internet here in the UK. I don't know if it's because of the weather. Sorry. we've dropped a few frames. Well, we dropped a couple of thousand frames. It's fine. Everything is fine. Ivan,
everything's
thank you very
okay.
much.
Fire in the background.
Everything's okay. Yeah. Ivan Ambrose, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. What are the reasons for people supporting Trump no matter what?
To be honest, I think it's some sort of brainwashing. It's been
Cult.
It's just been told. They've just been told that the problem with America is not the wealthy, which we all know. Like, it's, capitalism isn't the problem, it's socialism. It's the ability to make decisions for yourself about who you are and what you want to do. Yeah, look at I'm like Project 2025 just like says men should be the head of the household and women shouldn't have any rights.
Yes.
Like that to me as a woman is frightening to me, because that's not just like in the 50s when the wife is wearing the little the necklace and in the little dress and in the kitchen. No, this seriously means like taking away your ability to control your own finances, to buy things, to make major purchases without a man there. For credit, you have to have a man there. Just to like this is what they want. That they've been told, hey, let's get back to a better time in the 50s or 40s, or when women were women and men were men. No.
No.
No, we're not doing that.
And smallpox was smallpox, and polio was polio, and
polio.
Yeah, and women couldn't get a mortgage unless their father or brother attended the bank with them.
You start actually breaking down society that way. And, you know, it's not good. And these
No.
people, they want this.
Yeah.
They want the nostalgia, because you're nostalgia people. I'm nostalgia for the 90s.
I don't.
But
I'm sick of it. I went to see Mannix and Suede at the weekend in Leeds, and yeah, they were great. But at the same time, I'm just a little bit like I hate nostalgia. I find it really toxic because we forget how shit it was. We forget all the shit stuff. And it's really weird the way our brains work. It's like if something immediate has happened, you've had 100 people say you're awesome, what you just did was great, but you have one person saying, "Oh, you're an idiot." Thank you. You're an idiot, and
Wow.
and you need to screw your neck back on or something. You remember the bad comment because it's so immediate, and you'll go to bed thinking about that one bad comment, ignoring all the good ones. But then once time has passed, it's like, was it really that bad? I guess pain doesn't have the same kind of memory. Suffering, boredom doesn't have the same sort of memory as other stuff. You're like, well, yeah, you know, that did happen. But on the whole, it was great. And I'm like, oh. But yeah, the right do like to tap into toxic nostalgia in order to sort of weaponize it and go, hey, remember how it used to be? Make America great again. I'm thinking of making Maffa hats, MAFA, make Atwood fiction again. I'll make them in the Handmaid's Tale sort of hat.
I mean, you can go through all those dystopian sort of novels and go like pick everything out.
Well, that's what they did. Someone said that in the chat. They said Project 2025. They just read The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood and gone, all right, okay, this is what we need to do.
Now we're getting Animal Farm, which is, by the way, a great book. If anybody read that book. It's always overshadowed by 1984, but read Animal Farm. This is exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So good. I am worried. And I'm worried that not only even let's pretend that Donald Trump doesn't become president and Biden stays president. Let's pretend that, and whatever happens, happens. This is still going to be they're still going to do this stuff. They're still going to start ripping away your liberties. This is the thing that Democrats don't do. We don't talk about liberty or freedom enough.
Yes.
We have to say your freedom to choose what you want to do with your body. Your freedom to be able to go buy a house.
Right. People are asking in the chat, what can we do? But it's changing the narrative. It's getting that messages out. And considering liberals are supposed to control the media, the fact that they can't seem to get these very simple messages out to people screams to me of not a conspiracy necessarily, but you know, there's a lot of people working in the media who are like, ooh, this is going to be good for our revenue streams, you know, with loads of mad things happening all the time. There's nothing worse for a news channel than nothing really happening.
And obviously we like entertainment. We're an entertainment, and it doesn't matter where the entertainment comes from. It can come from the news. News used to be boring, and then it became entertainment. And that, you know, Trump was entertainment. But I will even go back further when California not only wanted but kept Arnold Schwarzenegger as our governor.
Yeah.
That was not a thought about process. That was not somebody going, oh, what's his platform? Who does he have, you know, behind it? That was literally entertainment. And it ruined our economy.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yeah. He also killed the electric car under his mandate, which is weird now because he's a bit of a green warrior.
Because that's not what he was. That he was put in that position, and it ruined his family because of that. And I think he snapped out of it. He snapped out of that trance where it
well, he proper hates Trump now, doesn't he? And he hates Putin. Number 3
because they're bullies, and he doesn't like bullies.
Number 3 is asking, thank you very much for the super chat, Richard. Is civil war ahead? What about Ukraine, etc.? Well, we could talk about that in a minute, but I you know, I'm really annoyed about that movie Civil War, Alex Garland's movie that came out earlier this year, because I think that it glorified Civil War in America. It sanitized it and glorified it. It didn't have a single person in it who was starving to death or their children dying of preventable diseases. And that, to me, didn't really mirror the actual effects of a civil war, is that all the logistics break down. And unless you can grow your own food, you're fucked. And if you can grow your own food, there's a good chance you're going to spend 99% of your time protecting your livestock or fields from other people that want that food. But yeah, it's not looking good there. And GHK Project 2025 is about the 1% owning everything and deluded followers owning their spouses. It is indeed. Thanks very much for the super chat. So, Brenna, do you think civil war is likely, or do you just think civil unrest, or do you not think it's going to be as bad as we kind of think it's going to be?
I think it's going to take a while for anything to really show how, like I said, before, I don't think we're going to see all these things immediately happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like Trump gets into the office and everybody gets AK-15s. It's AR-15s. It's not going to be like that. Nobody's going to see the results of this for a while, and then that will start to kind of people are going to get angry that their grocery stores are closing. They're going to get angry that their medical bills are going up. And the one thing is, I think people are just going to get so tired of it. I don't think we're mentally strong to understand this. I think people are just going to get tired of it. That's what's happening. That's what they've been doing, is that they're beating everybody down.
Yeah. Which is why we need to fight back. I mean, the Democrats need to fight back, which is something they're not doing, which is internally frustrating. I mean, it must be even more frustrating for you over there, but over here, watching from afar, it's like, fucking do something. Do something big and major, and get that message out there. We've got two chats coming from George. Thank you very much. Saying, I just downloaded Project 2025 PDF. It's 922 pages. My God. And then Puddinator, thank you very much for the £5. I like your thought of freedom and recontextualizing it. It's like Brexit over here. It was sold as a sovereignty project, but it took away our freedom. It absolutely did. And Derek JC777 says, freedom. I thought the argument was missing from the Brexit referendum. All the freedoms being part of the EU were good for us, but no one presented them in the Leave campaign. It's absolutely right. And I think that the Democrats in America can learn from our mistakes in 2016, because there was no positive argument made for staying in the EU. It should have been, this is our freedom. This is our freedom to live and work anywhere in our continent. But it wasn't. It was presented as, if we get Brexit, then our economy is going to go to the shit. Then everything's going to go bad. And it was all a negative campaign, which is what I'm seeing in America right now, with everyone going, oh, if Trump gets in, it's going to be awful, without presenting the positive side of what it'd be like if he doesn't get in. So, and that's important. And then 2019, I think, is coming back to Biden. Someone was asking if they're going to replace Biden. I think really think they should now. I mean, I was 99% on that they should replace him. Now I'm 100% on after the assassination attempt on Trump over the weekend. But they need to basically be saying, looking at what happened in the UK in 2019, which was that the opposition, the Labour Party, had an incredibly unpopular leader who was very popular amongst his core supporters, and all the polls said he wasn't going to win. And everyone said, no, the polls will be wrong. The polls will be wrong. All the polls are wrong all the time. They said that Trump wouldn't win. They said that Brexit wouldn't happen, although that was on a knife edge on both of those occasions. The polls will be wrong, and the polls are absolutely deadly accurate, Brenna. And it was like, you should have changed your leader. You should have changed the guy at the top and put someone in who could actually take the fight. And the argument, again, like with Brexit, was Boris Johnson is awful. He's illegally prorogued Parliament. He's had affairs. He's lied to everyone he's ever worked with. He lied to the Queen. He hid in the fridge. He's just an awful human being. And it wasn't enough. And he won. And Brexit got through. and Trump won in 2016 as well. So yeah, I
Mm.
think there's any sort of lessons to be learned. But I mean, what's it like on the other side? What's it like over there? Are people saying this? Do you see this sort of narrative on the TV or anything? Or
Not really. Like I'm not. First off, I don't like doom and gloom. I'm just not that kind of a person.
yeah,
If people want to doom scroll, they can doom scroll. Um, I try to look for positives in what's happening, and yeah, it's like the ever if we take pre assassination attempt, um, it wasn't looking it wasn't looking horrible. I mean, um, there was actual like good economy. There was
yeah,
actual like good um foreign uh relationships. Like we were looking at stuff that was positive. But this assassination attempt, because it was currently the investigation we're going to have investigations on it, obviously. But right now, it does look like Trump's going to go out there and, especially with the RNC, conveniently right before RNC, um, that we are going to see him take this sort of, and they wanted me to die, but I didn't die. I was protected by God.
yeah. God
I
redirected the bullet so it didn't hit the guy who tried to get his vice president murdered, hung. The guy
yeah, yeah, yeah.
who is an adjudicated rapist, the guy who's actually a convicted
Wanted to
felon.
kill Nancy Pelosi, and
Yeah,
they're
redirected the bullet so it hit a retired firefighter
yeah,
instead and killed him.
yeah. Yeah, that's that's the narrative that they're going to do, is that he was touched by God, and
Yeah,
because they're going to believe it, because he's been saying it for a long time, that he's got his supporters saying this for a long time. It's going to get him a boost. Now, again, we don't know what's happening like on the Democratic side and what they're going to be doing with it, with their big giant platform that they're going to be doing. But this is like, they need to do something big. Like they need to
yeah,
really hammer in that this is like the destruction of the country is, and this is not an exaggeration.
yeah.
And that's the thing that's like, that's what, like there's two, there's one
Two
side,
Americas. Okay,
there's
imagine
the
like
Democrats are doing
yeah,
that. Like the
imagine like
Democrats,
yeah. So I was going to say like a campaign of two Americas where you've got sort of the black and white future that Trump wants, and then the
mhm,
future that the Democrats want, and present the Democrat thing as the side as positive, as a great new jobs, new green jobs, people living life with their families, and everyone having a cookout. The wholesome American values
mhm,
and things, and then the other side of just pushing that whole thing of sleaze and corruption and criminality and the fact that no one's going to feel safe. I think that would be good. Do you think we're going to have to wrap up soon? But do you think that
yep.
this assassination attempt on Trump will light a bonfire under the Democrats? Do you think this is going to be something that will actually get them to sit up and slap them out of their reverie, or do you think they're just going to continue on?
No, no, I don't think they're going to look at this as a chance to get everybody actually like making policy, making, showing what their possible, what the possibilities are. I think they're not going to use the comparisons enough between Nancy Pelosi's husband getting beaten with a hammer and Trump's hurt in the ear. I don't think they're going to be doing it correctly. I think they're going to screw this opportunity up, and it's not going to be as grand as they think. That's why I think that they need to look in a different direction, and they need to get something else in people's minds, because now, like, the Trump stuff, like him, how much he loves being in the media. He was out of the media for a long time.
Yeah,
And this now brings him in, and now he can own it. And it just it doesn't it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not a journalist. I don't control the media. I don't know anything about this. And I don't know why. I don't know what's going to happen next. And I'm scared that it's just going to be a lost cause. And I cannot stand a world where Donald Trump is in charge anymore.
Well, yes, I don't think any of us can. But like that, this is the thing. So, what can be done? Obviously, a little bit arms tied behind my back here over this side of the pond. But in America, what can be done to fire the Democrats into action here? I mean, what's the process to sort of get them to wake up? Is there one?
I don't know. I don't have access to every single solitary Democrat that's in any position of power. I cannot do that.
Yeah.
I think that I think that there are people who can see it. I think there are people who are in those positions that are like the Democratic congressional leader, Hakeem Jeffries. I think he can come out a lot stronger. I think he hasn't been as strong as he could be. And that's a lot of what a lot of those laws go through Congress first. And I think he's the one that has to go. He's the one that has to tackle the ethics of the Supreme Court. I think we need to expand the Supreme Court.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that the Scrotus 6, I think they should be arrested and just put in a box. I think Trump should be arrested and put in a box until next year. We'll let you out next year.
You can wait. Just stew in there for a little bit.
Yeah, we're just awaiting trial for your many crimes. What crimes? Can't tell you that. Put them in Guantanamo Bay. It's what we did to Iraqis. We didn't tell them what the crime was. We just put them in a box. Put them in a box. Just put them in. You can do it.
Guilty by association.
And also, the current makeup of the Supreme Court has said that the president can do that even if it's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Carte blanche. I mean, there is an argument for Biden just using his newfound king powers in a way that benefits America and the world by not allowing these bastards to get in.
He could start passing laws just willy-nilly and doing whatever he wants. Yeah. He can ban guns.
Yes. He should do that. It'd be hilarious. Yeah. It won't be a vote winner, but it'll be hilarious. Ban Republicans from voting. Ivan, thank you very much for the super chat. Brenna, what's your view on Trump's running mates? This is on JD Vance, who criticized Trump in the past, by the way.
Yes, I think this is posturing, which is mostly Republican. That's what they did before. Mike Pence was posturing. This is, let me get the young hip people who just want to make the middle America, corn-fed, type of people, because they don't have policy, so they can't run on policy, so they have to run on identity politics. There's another word that Democrats actually have to use. This is identity politics.
Well, yes.
This is middle America. White, cisgender, straight man.
Anti-abortion. Working class roots.
Exactly. AntiTrans, anti-gay, all the stuff that you would expect. This is exactly what their playbook is. And they're just trying to get that young vote because he's young. So
I wanted just to enjoy the fact that the Tories have been kicked out of office in the UK. The far right got their asses handed to them in France. And I just want to enjoy that. But no, Trump won't let me. I hate that man with the burning intensity of 1,000 supernovas. I just don't want him to be... Sorry, did I stop saying words there?
You just kept going. It's okay.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Say what you want, Graham. Nobody's gonna
Well, no,
stop
I'm just
America.
a little bit worried because of heightened sensitivity. You see, if an act of violence is committed against Democrats or police officers in the Capitol building, over 150 of them who were injured on January the 6th, 2021, you can make jokes about that. You can say that the people did it because they were tourists and they're just having a sightseeing tour of the Capitol. Whereas if it's a Republican who's injured or something bad happens to a Republican, no, suddenly that's bad. Whereas Carl Rittenhouse can go and kill 2 black men in someone else's state and get away with murder. Literally get away with murder. Premeditated murder. Because he didn't shoot Republicans. If he'd shot Republicans, he would have been a terrorist. Mm-hmm. It's good, isn't it? It's good the way it works. Or if he wasn't white, he would have been a terrorist as well.
Yeah, well, of course, naturally.
Yeah. Craig Finlay is saying, hypothetically, could Biden set term limits to 1? No, because it would mean changing the Constitution, and he can't do that. He can make an executive order to say that Trump can't run, probably. And
we'd have to wait. We actually have to wait until it goes through all the it's gonna if Biden does that, let's say he goes, all right, so any citizen who has 34 felony counts in the state, because you can't really name people, right?
Yeah.
In the state of New York, cannot run, or cannot run for president. It would have to go to the Supreme Court, right? Because that's how executive orders work. So the Supreme Court goes in and they go, like, if somebody complains, they go there. They would have that thing finished in 2 days.
Yeah.
They would be making a ruling. They would drop that in 2 days.
Yeah.
His immunity case took like 4 months, I think.
Yeah, and they didn't come to a conclusion. They didn't say what he was immune for.
Exactly. That's how wrong this Supreme Court is. Because if it was benefiting Trump, if it was actually benefiting Trump, they would done.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, you can't ban somebody like this. So,
someone picked up
morons.
on my reference there to Warhammer 40k. Thanks very much. Craig Finlay, thank you very much for that. Oh yeah, I've read that one about setting the term limits to 1. And the other one I wanted to read was Cathal OG, who's now a member for 14 months on this wonderful channel. So thank you very much, Cathal, for being a member for so long. People support Trump because he's awful, so they can. Yeah.
Entertainment.
Yeah. I mean, they find him entertaining. It's wrestling. It's political wrestling, isn't it? Basically, or NASCAR racing.
I've known that for a long time. It's ever since Arnold Schwarzenegger got voted in as during a recall, of course, as governor, and then got a second term. It's awful. I mean, people are, I don't want to say people are stupid, but that is stupid decisions.
Yes. And
to only want to be entertained is not a political side.
Well, it's people voting with the heart rather than the head. And this happens all the time. You get people, especially when you got populists, offering simple solutions to complex problems. And yeah, I mean, you find a lot of people are happy to live in shit so long as somebody else is also living in shit and having their head kicked in at the same time.
Well, somebody has to be doing worse than you, and you have to feel better about yourself because you're not them. Yeah. Until they become them.
Yeah. So yeah, there's what we've talked a bit tonight about what the Democrats can do when it comes to executive orders from Biden. Yeah, I mean, he can probably have Trump assassinated properly and then ask for forgiveness afterwards. But aside from that, in the real world, what are they going to do? I think that someone like George Clooney, who's prepared to put his head above the parapet and say they need to get rid of Biden, needs to stand up, get a group of people together, well-spoken, well-presented, Democrats saying, we need to speak in one voice to say we want to give America hope instead of Donald Trump, who just is going to give you a bunch of misery. And together with replacing Biden with someone who can take the fight to Trump. I think that's really I don't know if it'll work, but it'll at least feel like they've tried. At the moment, Brenna, it doesn't feel like they're trying, and that's what's freaking me out.
There's no consensus right now, which, that's politics. That's democratic politics. There's never going to be a consensus on anything. And we've seen this for years, that there isn't going, because there's that saying that like Republicans fall in line and Democrats fall in love. And I think that needs to change. And I don't think we were militant, and we're not militant enough about who is in charge.
Yeah.
And it showed in Hillary's campaign and how she lost, because there was doubt. And when somebody believes that there's doubt, it trickles down. It spreads itself.
Yeah.
And unless everybody says this is who we're going to do, and it doesn't matter how you feel about them. I don't care how you feel about Kamala Harris. Like, she's not Trump. I don't care how you feel about Gavin Newsom. He's not Trump. Like, that is not going to happen, because Democrats have to have the perfect candidate, and we'll never have the perfect candidate. Like, we have to get it through our heads that we're gonna have somebody boring, but flawed. We're all flawed.
Well, no, I would like them to have someone a bit charismatic, and it to be, hope, a message of hope versus fear. And Donald Trump is based very much on fear. The stuff he comes out with, there's so many clips that they can use of him threatening people, of him.
Like, here's a question: why can't Democrats run on fear? Like, why is that not a possibility? Now, I'm not saying fear like in everybody's gonna, like, Second Amendment people are going to be murdering people, but like, why can't it be that like people are literally dying in the streets because Republicans cannot face it. They cannot decide that there's real need for treatment of people. There's really need for housing of people.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That's the fear that we need to show, that it's like, you are not safe. From being right there.
I agree, but I think there needs to be a message of hope from their side at the same time. Okay. You have that split screen advert of hope with the Democrats, fear with the Republicans. You have one in glorious Technicolor, the other side in black and white. Everyone's miserable. Everyone's at each other's throats. Do you want this? Do you want this for the next? And it's not going to be the next 4 years. Get it really through people's heads that if Trump gets in, he's going to be not just the 47th president of the United States. He's going to be the last president of the United States. Yeah. He said he was going to be a dictator from day one. They can quote him on that.
Yeah.
So but I think that campaign does have to go hand in hand with hope. Like, okay, what positive things are going to happen if we vote Democrat? And one of the most incredible things happened a couple of weeks ago. Didn't get any coverage in the press at all, but it's now cheaper to make an electric car in China than it is to make an internal combustion engine car, just because of the scale. And the price of batteries has come down a lot, actually. That is game changing, absolutely game changing, and means we can rethink about the race to get into net zero and the new jobs that can come as a result of that. And don't forget, we talk about batteries, a lot of them lithium. There's big lithium planes in planes. Is that the right word for it? Fields. What do you have for lithium? Lithium salt flats in America. So it's not like America's going to be handing over its energy security to Bolivia or Botswana. It can make its own lithium batteries with its own materials that it's got, no natural resources. I mean, it takes a lot of water, and you've got to get that water into the desert. But that's another war.
But you go into green energy, and people are like, "Well, they're going to tell you can't use your gas stoves anymore." And it's like that. Yes. This is the thing. This
Fear.
is the thing that really bothers me. And it's not just about Democrats themselves, but it's also about media. And we talked about this after the debate that the nominees had.
Yeah.
There is no pushback, zero, about like blatant lies about taking away your gas stove. Like that, like no. There's nothing saying there's no way that they're telling you that, and they can't do that. They're going to phase them out. And that's the whole thing. It's like it's not direct because one side just wants to make you hate everything. Even smart decision. They want you to they hate it because it doesn't benefit them. These are the things that are not being done. These all the Project 2025 that benefits the rich.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And we're not talking about the rich like somebody in Newport right here, right under my background. These are all wealthy people. They're not even going to be benefited by this.
No.
It's going to be the people up in the
sky.
1%
of the 1%.
They're going to be in little dirigibles that are just going to be floating around us because they don't want to pay property taxes. Like that's the people that are going to be benefited from this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not you. Not every these people.
Right, we're gonna have to wrap it up there, but thank you so much, Brenna. That was really good, really informative. Will you come back in a couple of weeks? We'll have Mikey Famine on next week, talking about what the view from Chicago.
From that side, I'm lucky because Mikey and we actually have different views, which is perfect because that's the way it should be, and I'm perfectly okay having friends with different views.
Yeah. But he's not a Republican, is he? He's not a Trump supporter. Thank God for that.
He and I are just different. We're just different, and that's okay. We can live like that. We can live around with people who have different views than you.
Brilliant. Well, that's good. So next week, same time, at 8 o'clock, we'll be talking to Mikey Famine over in Chicago on Stateside. I'll be back in the morning at 9:30. I forgot Phil's got to, I think he'll go back in the hospital or something tomorrow. I've forgotten. Sorry, Phil, if you're watching. But yeah, so I'll be doing the morning brew show in the morning. Ivan Ambrose, thank you very much for the £5 super chat, mate. Before we wrap up, I know America is much bigger than Britain, but does social media have more influence on US elections than UK elections? I would say probably about the same. But do you reckon more?
Brenna? I don't know much about your the thing, all I know a difference about the US elections versus the UK election is the length of the election period. You have shorter election periods than we do. We have longer. So we have much more opportunity. Yeah. So I would just say that's the only thing that I would say is that we have longer opportunity for social media influence. Yeah. That's whether it's the same, I don't know.
All right, Brenna, thank you so much. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks for the super chats. Give us a like on the way out. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye. Bye.
Bye.